Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Poke Collector 300 here. Just wanted to make this video to kind of explain the best ways to store and protect your Pokemon cards. So for me, I like collecting Pokemon cards mostly just because it was part of my childhood, but now I realize that some of these cards are valuable and I really like keeping my cards in really good condition once I've got them. So I'm just going to kind of explain some of the different supplies you'll need and then the different ways I store different types of cards depending on their rarity and things like that. So one of the most basic products you can get are these card sleeves, otherwise known as penny sleeves. So these are just a thin plastic sleeve made out of like this soft plastic material. Real easy to just kind of move around, very flexible. And all you do is there's a little slit opening in the top. You can just take your card and you slide it right in. So this helps protect the corners and the edges from getting all scruffed up. Because that's one of the biggest things if you ever send your cards in to get graded. That's one of the biggest things that it can get docked points for, is if there's white edging and just any kind of wear and tear around the corners and the edges of your card. So this is a great way to protect any kind of card that you really just want to keep protected either a short while until you can get it into better protection, or just to keep it, keep some of the dust off of it and keep the corners safe. The next type of sleeve, which is pretty similar, are these sleeves. So these are more of if you have a deck, and they usually come in like a little deck box, but they're a little sturdier because they're made for if you're actually playing with the cards. So they're a little more protective. They do a little better job of protecting against warping, which is another big issue when it comes to holographic cards. I don't have any particularly warped cards with me, but this is a card I opened just the other day. And you can kind of see really slightly that it's got a little bend to it. And that's because the holographic foiling they put on these cards, over time when exposed to different amounts of humidity or different temperatures, it'll slowly warp. So having it in a slightly sturdier sleeve like this can help prevent a card like this, which is a reverse holographic card. It'll help prevent it from warping quite as bad. So then the next type of card protection that I like to use is called a top loader. So what this is this is it's way more rigid, still a little flexible, but it's got solid edges all the way around, and it's got just the one opening right in the top. So these are best for your really nice cards. So these are good for, say, like this Mega Venusaur EX I pulled the other day. So this card, like with all of the holographics and all of like the unique ridging and everything on it, I really want to keep this straight, not warped, and keep it as protected as possible. So what I'll do for a nice card like this, so really any kind of EX, I even do it with most of my holographics just because I like to keep most of my cards in really good condition, is I'll take a card like this, put it into a penny sleeve, because now this will protect the edges, keep some of the dust off, and then I take the top loader, and then you just open the top a little bit, pull it back with your finger, slide in the card, then I just give it a few taps on the table, and boom, look at that. So now it's completely surrounded by a slightly harder plastic, so this will keep it straighter, won't let it kind of warp as much, protects the edges better, and it keeps way more of the dust out, because even just this one opening, it's kind of pretty much sealed up there. One really important thing to remember is never put a card in a top loader without a sleeve on it first. That's because the top loader is kind of more rigid, so it could very easily scratch your card if there's any type of dust or debris or anything like that in it. Excuse me. The next type of protection I like to use, so these are technically for graded cards. If you've ever seen PSA graded cards, what you normally do is you take one of those cards, slide it in here. It's pretty much a giant penny sleeve. Slide it in here, seal it up, and then keeps all the dust out and keeps it way more protected. But these are very similar to something called team bags. And what I use team bags for is I take a lot of my basic cards, so the common cards, the cards that you have probably like 4,000 of by now if you've been collecting for a while, where you don't need to individually store them and protect them individually, but you still want to keep them, out of the dust, out of sunlight, and you're just trying to keep them in good condition. So what I'll do is I'll stack maybe 10 to 15, just like your regular common kind of cards. Just kind of grab a stack, you just put them in there, And it's way better than just sticking them in a shoebox and having them slide all over the place. It'll keep the dust off, it'll protect the edges way better, everything like that. So then the next thing that I like to do is I'll take those team bags and I'll put them in a tin. And I use the tins mostly for organizing the types of cards. So like in here, I have my common reverse holo cards. And for like my common reverse holo cards, I'll put the reverse holo in a penny sleeve and then into a team bag. Again, because when it has holographic foiling on it, it's way more likely to warp. So anytime you can give a holographic card more structure to it through either top loaders, sleeves, the game sleeves, anything like that, they're gonna stay in way better condition over time. So I have maybe 3 or 4 different ones of these that I use just to kind of organize the different rarities of my reverse holos. So I have a common reverse holo one, then I'll have an uncommon reverse holo, and then a rare reverse holo. And so pretty much the last way I organize and protect my cards is for all of the uncommons and rare cards that I get that are non-holographic. So not the greatest pulls, but I still like to show them off a little bit. Is I'll get a binder with these basic sleeve pages in them, and what I'll normally do is I'll organize them by type. So you can see here that this is all my normals, and so I'll have a bunch of the uncommons up in the front, and then it's hard to hard to turn right now, but then as you go back, then it'll be rares, and then I'll have a different divider, and it'll be dragon type, and then it'll be the uncommons and then the rares. Again, this just helps keep the corners safe, helps keep the dust off, keeps them out of the sunlight, everything that'll help keep your Pokemon cards in better condition. So with that is pretty much it. So the main takeaways that you can kind of keep in mind is that you want to protect your cards from dust, you want to keep them out of the sunlight, and you really want to protect the edges by using like penny sleeves, because that keeps them from bumping things. And then finally, warping. I mean, you can unwarp cards a little bit once they've already been warped, but it's better if you just take your nice cards, your holographic cards, your awesome secret rares and mega evolutions, get them in a penny sleeve, put them into a top loader, and then you'll just be good to go. You don't have to worry about them warping or trying to fix them once they're warped. So let me know if you guys like this type of video. I can do some more information on how I organize my cards, different ways to store cards, and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.